We're reinventing everything. Our world, ourselves, the way we live. Living Light explores fresh, cross-cultural ideas, transforming life for the better. The Culinary Institute of America is a thought leader in the food world. The college trains both the next generation of chefs, as well as industry executives who influence how we eat now and will in the future.
The mission of the Culinary Institute of America, simply put, it is to better the nation and the world through food. We were founded in 1946 at the end of the Second World War, basically as a vocational school to train veterans returning from overseas, to prepare them for careers in the restaurant business. We moved to Hyde Park, New York in the 70s and began to broaden our scope. But if we look today at the status of the chef, it's pretty extraordinary how far we've come.
Part of this evolution is thinking about the full life cycle of the food we eat, not just what happens in the kitchen. The term farm to table has become a popular way to describe this approach. Farm to table emphasizes working with seasonal produce and local producers to create fresher, more delicious meals.
One of the interesting things about farm to table cuisine for a culinary student is that it forces you to think backwards. And what I mean by that is, for most cooks, what they do is they come up with a recipe, an idea of what they want to cook, and then they go out and get the ingredients that it requires to make it. Farm-to-table cuisine requires you to do basically the opposite, to figure out what's beautiful and healthy and tasty and coming off of farms right now, and then what can I make with that set of ingredients? It's really sort of turning the idea of how you construct a restaurant meal on its head. It's more challenging in some ways, but it's also more creative.
Alex Sarabelli began as a student at the Institute and has since become an instructor. Early in her career, she learned firsthand how to make the most of available supplies, having once cooked for a women's shelter. Then she took another journey.
I spent 3 years out at sea in the Arctic Circle and learned about climate change firsthand. And I realized that food was the vehicle to really do what I was passionate about, which is not only protect the environment, but to consider the human aspect of our food system.
Back at the CIA, Alex helped start a new program called the Menus of Change Kitchen. Here, in a real restaurant environment, students find innovative ways to reduce waste without sacrificing flavor or quality. Excess ingredients and surplus items from other classes are dropped off. Then students are challenged to come up with ways to repurpose them into delicious dishes.
The first thing that I really build in students when it comes to preventing food waste is the optimal utilization of ingredients, to use everything in its maximum capacity. And it takes quite a deal of unlearning. Students will oftentimes cut off the top of the pepper. It's got a little core in it and proceed to cut the rest of the pepper. You have a case of peppers, that's a soup, that's a sauce, that's quite a lot of product.
When students enter the CIA, introductory courses emphasize the critical element of sustainability, both in cooking and in the food industry in general.
One of the things that I think that we've done a really good job of is incorporating sustainability and local food and farm to table into our curriculum.
You ask a group of students what's sustainability, is it good for the environment? And if they know a little bit more, is it sustainable financially? Is it too expensive? Is it something that's going to be able to carry on through their careers or their lives? You have people who are invested in being mindful about every ingredient we use and not wasting it, thinking of new solutions and new streams and new avenues for our ingredients so that they don't go into the compost bin.
The World Food Program estimates we could feed 2 billion people with the food we currently discard. Using more of each ingredient is one key element in addressing the problem. Each step brings us a little bit closer toward making more out of our food supply.
Also, peeling vegetables. So much of our health and minerality come from the peels. In Ireland, during the potato famine, there's a story where the parents would eat the skins of the potatoes and give the insides of the potatoes to their children to sustain them. And the children ended up dying of malnutrition because the parents were getting all of the nutrients that are living inside of those peels. Peeling vegetables takes time, it takes labor, and you're oftentimes using a key source of nutrition and nutritional value in that ingredient. So optimal utilization isn't just about the ingredient itself, but the nutrients inside of that food.
All of this aims to change how we think about our food, so that we make choices that lead to better outcomes for our land, for our economy, and for our community, while also being delicious.